3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. This is the first episode of our jazz series entitled Jazz, Juice, and Jam. My name is Kendrick Smith. And with me today, I have a great musician and a great friend. His career spanned probably over more than a decade. He's a bass player who's been on a lot of prolific records. He's an educator also. This is Mr. Bernard Terry, y'all. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me.
Man, thank you so much for doing this. I know it's the first episode, you know.
It is first episode.
If y'all can't tell. But man, how are you feeling? Everything happening.
I feel good, man. It's an experience of a lifetime.
I bet. Yeah. So what this show is really aimed to do is kind of make jazz a little bit less formal.
Okay.
You know, a little bit more exciting, so anybody can kind of watch it, whether you like jazz, whether you're just a kind of listener, or, you know, hopefully we can just be entertaining.
Right.
That's what it's aimed towards. So I'm glad, and this is like one of the most entertaining people I know. So how, you know, you got any questions? How you feeling, bro? How is it?
Man, I feel good.
Okay. How is it being, I guess what I say, being a working musician in St. Louis? I mean, you've been doing this for probably, I know, close to 10 years, but I think like more professionally, like on the scene, maybe what, 5 to 7?
It'll be 5.
Okay. Now, if I could ask you, with St. Louis having like few bass players, what's some of the upsides of that?
I mean, you're working all the time. Number one, like there's probably 4, maybe 5 bass players, so you're constantly working. You get to know everybody on the scene. You get to work with different community leaders, and you get to go to all these cool places in St. Louis where you go, oh, I didn't know this was even here.
That's it. All the time, bro.
Where this place come from?
All those spots,
right? So it's a cool thing, man. It's humble.
Okay. Now, I definitely can imagine, with it being so few, you probably don't have a time to rest. I'm surprised, you know, it took a pandemic for us to even try to do this, unfortunately. But, I mean, does the work ever get too hard for you? Do you ever, like, want to take a break? Do you take a break? Do you give yourself time?
I do give myself a break. It'll be probably once every quarter. I would take, like, just a day or two. Make sure I hone up on my craft, know my skills, try to work on techniques that I need, and go from there, man. Like, make sure you just know the basics.
Okay. Probably drink some juice.
Definitely drink some juice.
With that being said, it's time for our next segment. Guess that juice. All right. So the purpose of this is we're going to play a jazz tune, right? And it's up for you all in the comment section to guess what it is. Let us know. Right now I'm just going to play a little bit of it. Let us know, and then we'll let you know after the show whether you're correct or not. hopefully you guess what it is. Let us know again in the comment section why I'm saying it. If you all would like to, please comment, like, subscribe, leave comments below. Things that you think we can do to improve on the show. The juice is strong with this one. And hopefully you all are having fun. Hopefully you're laughing, of course. So we're gonna now do a very, I think, important segment, and this is going to be albums that we feel that you all should check out. We're going to start with Mr. Bernard Terry over here, who, of course, picked the Bass Player album, I'm guessing.
I mean, you got to. As a bass player, first of all, bass players have the best tunes, the best albums of all time. I mean, it's just hands down. So, especially bass player that's nearest and dearest to my heart, Charles Mingus.
Yes, Mingus.
Mingus, you know. Now, the album is Ahum. That's the album.
I thought it was
Ahum. I said Ahum. You know what I'm saying?
It sounds like a scene from Lion King.
Bro, let me tell you something. Might as well. It makes you feel like you're at home. But no, seriously though.
How do you spell it? How do you spell the album?
AHMUM. AHUM.
But you say it the way you say it, bro. It'll be funny.
I said Ahum.
I know it's Ahum, but
it's Ahum. Bro, it says right here at the title. We can restart the segment too.
You know, our camera person Jeremy feels.
AHUM.
Okay.
Ahum.
All right. Well, look. What do you like about that? What do you like about that?
So we gonna keep that in?
Yeah. Come on. What you like about the album?
All right. So the one thing I like about the album is, all right, there's a whole backstory to why I actually enjoyed Mingus, especially just this record.
Okay.
It was 2007. My grandma, my sister, and I, we had to go all the way to Rockingham, North Carolina. So we were taking an Amtrak straight. Now that's it was long. That was a long trip.
Yeah, I know. What's that, like 7 hours, bro?
It's close. It's close. So there was a point on the trip where I had my headphones and I had a CD player, and I had this Mingus CD, and I used to steal CDs from people, just be like, I'm gonna get to it one day.
Steal?
Yes, still. We all come short to the glory of God. I stole it. So
don't come looking for me. I ain't responsible.
I took the CD and played it, and the first song was "Better Get in Your Soul." That was to me, was just like, man, this sound like a Baptist convention all over again. And I was like, do. I was like, ooh, shoo do. I was trying to talk in tongues on the track. And then like you go down the album, and it's like every song is just written like perfectly to me.
Okay. And
it spoke volumes, and then a lot of the songs, the backstories to those songs is what made me actually like Mingus even more.
Okay, yeah.
So
I see that.
Yeah, man, that's one of the most important records, man. Just like my favorite one is Bird Call, because everybody thinks it's about Charlie Parker, but it's literally just about birds chirping. Charlie Parker, who, man?
So they think it's about Charlie. Everybody thinks it's about birds.
Just about birds. Chirping, bro.
That's Mingus though, man. He kind of like off kilter.
Yeah, bro.
You know, yeah. I remember, like, you know, my teacher had me good talking about Mingus and just saying like how he was a character.
Yeah,
that's
my dude. That's my dude. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: would you recommend this album just for bass players, or just any musician in general? You think it's good to check out?
Well,
is it rounded?
It's rounded, yes. But
Okay.
First, I would recommend the bass players because, like, writing as a bass player takes it to a whole nother level. Because he basically writ out almost all these tunes, and it's like, as a bass player, just you writing tunes out, number one. It's like, that's a whole different thing than just writing a ballad, and you're doing counterpoints, and you're depending on people's playing abilities. That's like it's like a trust thing. So to me, that's like, this is one of the most important records.
Okay, all right, I'm with that. Cool. Of course, I picked This is my favorite record. The GOAT of the modern day alto saxophone. Of course, it's Kenny Garrett's Beyond the Wall album. I think I heard this record. You know what? Let me make sure. I believe it's 2006. I was going to say 2007. And for me, I think this is like probably like such a great record because almost like how you was talking about Mingus,
Right.
how it's written perfectly, but for me, every song tells a story.
Yeah,
it's like every song goes with each other. Sometimes you hear records, especially like modern jazz records, where it sounds like somebody just wrote a bunch of tunes and just put it together on the album and said, here it is, this is my record. But with that, Beyond the Wall, it's first of all, it sounds so different, than any other record. And it definitely has an Asian influence.
Right.
I think it also like the personnel, you can't necessarily. It's all stars on that record, bro. Let me just tell you a little bit because I know you be down.
Hey, bro, go ahead and Google.
Of course. So of course you got Kenny. Pharoah Sanders on tenor saxophone, Mo Gramilla, the great Bob Hurst third. Let me tell you,
third.
That's it, bro. Brian Blade on drums, Bobby Hutcherson on vibes. Just those names alone. There are a lot of other Ruggiero, Boccato on percussion. Here, I'm gonna just tell y'all to Google it to get the other personnel. The names a little bit hard to pronounce, but we all know those names in the jazz world. But I feel like that record, it has like, it almost puts you in the vibe of like Coltrane a little bit, but it's like, it's taking that message, that gospel and going further with it, not just trying to sound like that group. Oddly enough, I just found out that record is actually a tribute to the late great McCoy Tyner, who just recently passed, about a week ago. So, I mean, it's kind of good to talk about it. You know, I definitely would recommend the record for, not just saxophone players. If you just like music, you don't even have to like jazz, but if you just like music, it has great singing in it, great vocals. It's it's a dope album, and it's complete in its, entirety.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I think with the albums, it's like, for me, if it doesn't not just push you musically, but actually put you in a place of like a spiritual thing, that transforms the whole album. Yeah,
if you don't, even Charlie Parker had that quote, right? Where he said, if you don't live it, it ain't gonna come out in the music. You have to go through stuff, and you can hear that. I mean, the last track on the record is called like "May Peace Be Among Them," and that. At one point, y'all check out the record. At one point, Kenny starts hollering, just it's dope.
Man,
I mean,
the Holy Spirit.
That's it. That concludes that segment. Next up, we got a really fun one, y'all. This one is called "Who Would You Rather." So this is who would you all rather share on the bandstand with out of 3 musicians, okay? So you can also play this game. Let us know in the comment section who you feel. So today, Bernard, with you across from me, we have Miles Davis, Freddie Hubbard, or Wynton Marsalis. I'm going to give you a minute to think about it.
I don't need no minute. I already know. I don't need no minute.
Now, this is who you would like to have with you on the bandstand, not just the song. So,
who I'd rather be playing with too, or just if I had to pick a person?
No. Who you playing with? They're going to be on the stage with,
Oh, okay.
I say it all if y'all ain't
say it. If I had to choose,
I'll tell you. So we got Miles Davis,
Freddie Hubbard.
So Miles, of course, he has lyricism. Of course, he uses space. Freddie is a powerhouse. He's also going to keep the energy in the band. And then Wynton, of course, I feel like has all the history for sure in his playing, and he's a good team player. So all strong qualities. But who would you rather?
I mean, with seriousness, I would choose Miles Davis.
Okay.
Because if I'm on the bandstand, let's say we want to do bebop and then go all the way to almost jazz fusion. And you can have, all three of those guys that can do it.
Absolutely.
But with Miles Davis, it's just like, that's that bread and butter and biscuits with the cornbread and the ham hocks on the side. So that's
I
like,
ain't eat dinner yet.
Yeah, man. I knew. So I would choose Miles Davis, man. Plus, he's from the 618.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
What anybody
That's
trying
it.
to say.
You gotta hold it down. So, what about you, man?
So, I know I'm gonna surprise you. Because at first I thought Miles, probably like a lot of people. But I've got to go with Freddie. I'm going with Freddie for the simple fact, the way that I like to play is high energy. And some people, you play too many notes. I know who you are. I know you watching this.
The jazz critics.
Play too many notes. But I know I like high energy and definitely high energy in the band. And Freddie definitely brings that. And sometimes to me, there's nothing worse, bro, than like when you're playing and you set up this big thing, big bomb, and then it goes to the next person and it's just flat. Like the air let out. I mean, that's cool sometimes, but like every solo is just and the audience loses interest. But with Freddie, he can play a beautiful solo, but when it's time to hit, he, to me, more than all those guys, he can go to the extreme, just like, as much as any saxophone player or any drummer or whatever, he can just. So for me, I'm definitely thinking Freddie. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm sure we all have different opinions. Wynton is definitely would be a great person. I would choose Connor Wynton second. I would choose
Wynton definitely second.
He would be a good second to go after that.
Almost first.
The issue with Miles is I got to deal with him on the bandstand, so I don't know.
Hey, bro.
Get that look to her, be like, hey, playing the wrong notes. I didn't get that look sometimes.
Hey, but don't start. Don't start.
Hey, man, look, I'm telling you, man, like, I don't know. I think it's
a hard one.
It's tough.
I'm going to say this, though. Like, Winning to me, like, just the way his career spanned.
Yeah.
He has a lot of information.
Of course.
So, like, to me, I like his soloing. But it's just like...
You're trying to do that just in case he hired you, right?
No, bro. It's not just a hiring part. It's like, no, seriously, bro. It's like, you got three giants. And it's like, Freddie Hubbard brings this to the bandstand. You got... he basically had he was like a James Brown, a trumpet player.
Still I don't know how many people playing trumpet like that.
But then you have Miles Davis, who arguably, not only did he sit in Dizzy Gillespie's spot, but then you transform the whole movement. That's just
several times.
Almost every decade, it was like Miles Davis approval stamp, Miles Davis approval stamp, Miles Davis. So it's like, man, and then you got Wynton Marsalis, still doing his thing, and it's like those are three giants. So it's like
it's hard.
It's hard, bro.
And if you ask us any given day, because for me, I feel like the thing that Wynton has is that he's a team player. Out of both of those guys, they may not play with you on the same. They might play over you or leave you hanging.
Under you, they're gonna look at you. They're gonna smoke a cigarette on the side.
The beautiful thing about Wynton, and I think why he could even be first sometimes for me, is that is that everything that he plays, he's gonna play it to try to make everybody sound better, not just himself. Yeah. So. Let us know, what y'all think in the comment section. I know
the trinity of trumpet
that's
players.
It. With that kind of hot topic, we're going to get even hotter. I'm sure you got them. We want them. It's time for controversies.
That's the last cup I'm going to drink, bro. That mud.
It is, bro. You almost need to put some water in. What's it?
No, I'm good.
Got that booty, bro.
All right, so today's controversial topic is, of course, one that I'm sure every musician is probably concerned about.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
Uh-oh.
Jam session etiquette. So, a couple of different topics. Me and Bernard, we do a jam session, so we see a lot of interesting things from some characters. And, you know, there is also a lot of questions like cats have about, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's the controversy comes in where people do what they want to do. So one of the big things that we see all the time is, you know, it's like you go to a jam session and people just start take out their horns and just plugging in their amps and just showing up on stage.
Come on, man.
No questions asked.
Come on, man.
And do their thing. I personally feel like it is good etiquette to ask, or, you know, the person try, is it cool? You know, if I set up, you know, gauge the room. Like, if there's already, you know, 5 saxophones or 4 trumpets or whatever up, maybe, you know, you should wait till the next tune instead of just getting on every go and doing it. But if you don't see nobody up there, then I also feel like you don't have to wait. I mean, if ain't nobody up there, if you get an eye, you take, you know, the eye musicians give to get their horn, like,
right.
You know, if you get that, then you can do it. But I don't know, what do you think just about that?
Well, first controversial thing is, why we wearing the same shirt almost? I don't know. This is
let me tell you something. This is my show, and so I guess it's trying to be like me. You know,
let me tell you something.
I just wouldn't wear that hat.
Okay.
Represent the court.
No, I really think, like, when it comes to jam sessions, like, jazz is like a community almost, so it has its own culture. Every city has its own culture when it comes to a jam session. Like, the St. Louis jam session is not the same as New York, where you guys just, you don't hop in. Like, if a drummer was, like, especially with rhythm section.
That is something to be said.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. Like, if the bass player is playing, the bass player will play like 3 notes and then, all right, switch out. Yeah. Or the drummer just play the right cymbal and then you hop in the seat. You know, so, like, just like you said, gauge what's going on. And then, like, when you're doing the jam sessions, like, you're not there to showboat. That's like the biggest thing, man. It's like everybody comes in there like, yeah, man, I've been working this Charlie Parker lick out.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, shoot do 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 do. I'm like, bro, you know, damn. So, like, I'm like, it's good for you to be working on stuff. I'm glad you're practicing. But when you're at a jam session, it's supposed to be like coming together, everybody playing music, and you're just not on the same band. Like, you're on the same bandstand, but it's just like a big band thing, right? The original big bands where people just come together, playing the music, taking 2 choruses.
The choruses.
Just take 2, maybe 3, walk off. Because as a bass player, if we're playing at 380 or 420, which we have, and I see you and you're over here doing all these licks, and I'm like, all right, you killing it, bro. And then next thing you know, you're playing whole notes for the next 8 courses. Nah, sit down. Come on, son. Come on, son.
Well, and I say, like, not only just for that purpose, like, definitely for that, but also a lot of cats don't acknowledge that there are people still in the audience listening while you all are having the jam session. And as killing as, I don't know, moment's notice maybe or something like that, like, after about 3 saxophone players all taking like 4 to 5 courses on it, like, it's time to change tunes. It's like, you know, you just want to be able to, like we said, gauge the audience. You know, because what you don't want, I mean, I remember coming up where, like, band leaders would look at you and tell you, go sit down. You come up to the band,
that's a whole different.
Yeah, you know, it's like, it was rougher back then. But then, like, there's also something you said for, like, areas. They make a difference. Like, for instance, you know, like, the sometimes, you know, like, the climate with New York, it's so many musicians there that, like, sometimes guys got to switch out on one tune. I've seen drummers switch out, you know. Here it's like, it's a little bit
different.
Yeah, different. You know, you might be able to, there's probably chances for every drummer to get a chance to play. So, you know, but the culture of the jam session, it is, I think, like, what jazz is really about. I think it's what is the the foundation of it. I mean, having a band and playing tunes is great, but you really, I feel like you really have a lot of fun when somebody shows up. You may not even know this guy, and you come together and things happen. And for the younger musicians that wonder about networking, they always asking me, how do I get work? How do I get jam sessions? I'm telling you, when I was younger, starting out, and I wasn't necessarily working as much, every jam session I went to, every time I went to a jam session, somebody came and called me that week, hey bro, I got a job for you. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate like them, taking the chance, and we have to do that,
Yeah, we do. And I think another big thing, please don't play ballads on the jam session. Unless the folks on the bandstand, every once in a while, once every 10 years, you might get a person. Like you can just walk in there, you know what? Everybody, during the jam session, people will sit down. It might be like a saxophone player, trumpet player, piano player, just random people. Then you can do a ballad then. Don't call a ballad on the jam session though. Please don't.
It's so many musicians. It's kind of, I feel it's kind of selfish.
It is.
I mean, maybe you can change my mind. I don't know. Maybe somebody can change. Let us know in the comment section
if you want to do a ballad. And then be considerate about the room section players. When you're playing these fast tunes, especially as a bass player, I can go all day long, sure. But do I want to? No. Do I really want to? You're doing a fast song at the fast song at the fast song. Every song's above 200 beats per measure. And you're just like, man, at some point, let's do a blues. The blues is at 300.
You always want to do a blues.
Man, let me tell you something.
Slow burner right here.
Shrimp boat gum.
Shrimp boat gum. Shrimp boat.
Oh yeah, bro, you get there one day. But yeah, man, that's the
So as we do the show, the controversy, that was mild. So we hope to. Let us know if you all think there are any topics that would be great to controversially talk about, okay? So we're on to, of course, our last segment today that we're going to talk about. It's time for current events. All right, so today for our current events, we couldn't even do the first show without talking about it.
That's right.
Yeah, COVID-19, the coronavirus. It is sweeping across not only just the nation, but the world in general, affecting many, many, many people and a lot of creatives, musicians, the ones I know are out of work right now. They're not even able to, I know.
No words.
They're not even able to teach. And unfortunately, some, they don't even really know where the next income is coming from. I felt like, Bernard, in times like this, it would be, in times like this, we're seeing a lot of live videos, a lot of cash apps, a lot of guys doing concerts, and I feel like it's easy to take that for granted, but this is, in case you all didn't know, this is how a lot of guys are making income now. This is a lot of ways that they can make their income. So, if the quality doesn't look good or something like that, if you have, something to spare, I think it helps. It's like tithes and offering in church.
Yeah, that's just fun.
That's it. Build a musician, build a bear.
Build a musician.
Unfortunately, I feel like, it's also taken the lives of a few great musicians. There's one in Africa that I know passed, and a couple. I just got the call today, unfortunately, about Wallace Roney passing. The great trumpeter. If you guys don't know who he is, get from under a rock. Check him out.
For real.
But this corona, a lot of people don't think it's as serious as it is, but it's taken one of the great, guys that was pushing this music forward. So, it's such a thing. And then also, I do want to say on a lighter note, when this craziness is all over, come out and support, musicians no matter where they're at. If you see some guys together, I know y'all hate being in the house. I know people definitely do. It's on so much network, Netflix.
Yeah, there's only so much. Tiger King, bro. That's
Didn't the Tiger eat somebody else?
Yeah. So,
I think this situation, has showed us we do take some things for granted.
Yeah.
We take the freedom to just go out and do what we want to do, and sometimes even me, it's like, I don't know, guys are playing somewhere and I'm like, I'm coming, I'll come out, but then I don't now.
You don't never show up.
Y'all know I'm there. But now I can't even see him, and
Right,
listen,
right.
Would you like to add anything to that?
I mean, man, it's a different world, different climate we're living. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I'm a big historian. Like, I love reading history books and going back and looking through the times, and it's like, even with the Spanish flu, bubonic plague, everything was shut down. Musicians barely worked.
Yeah.
And a lot of musicians, you had to go and switch it to a whole different career field. So it's humbling to see musicians still be musicians during this time period. Like myself, I'm just cutting down trees and doing yard work. I'm just like we were talking about earlier, man. Like, hey, okay, so like we were talking about earlier, man. Like, you're so busy that when you actually get time off, like, I've been out for work for almost 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
And for 2 weeks, I literally sat at home and just thank God that I can actually just sit at home.
Yeah.
Because I know how these diseases, some people don't take it seriously until it's too late. Some people, they take it seriously when it does happen. But I just thank God that I'm able to sit here right now.
Yeah, man.
And so, like, and that's what, man, it's like, you have all these great artists. Like, Eric Badu did something on Facebook Live and Instagram Live, and DJs playing constantly. And it's like, I know at some point the economy is going to come really low and people are going to be like, hey, I can't give $1, but I'll be glad to watch. And that's what, as musicians, that's first and foremost is bringing the joy into music.
Absolutely.
So now you got to go back and peel back the onion and go, what is an actual musician?
What is it? Yeah. What's our purpose? What's our calling?
Yeah. So that's what, and I hope, like, especially as musicians, we actually sit there and go, how do we make things better? Because, like, we have this time off. So now it's like, okay, we're doing live streams on Facebook. How can we make sure our live performances, when we get a chance to go back, become better? So
absolutely, yeah.
That's really it, man. It's the world we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, there's definitely like a word that I like that really said with me, where it says, those that aren't sick don't need a physician.
Mm-hmm.
I think musicians, our jobs are to heal people and to encourage. And even with all this going on, I mean, it's easy to kind of go home and, be upset or whatever. But I mean, we have this opportunity to create.
Mm-hmm.
All this happened, halftime. We have this opportunity to still be lights and inspire. So
that's it, man. Just a beacon in the darkness.
That's it.
Look.
Beacon in the darkness.
You see, bro. Let me tell you something. I think another thing. No. This is gonna be a quick thing, but like, I think another thing too is find something that you like not just for us musicians, but like as a human civilization. If you live in a neighborhood and you can just walk around freely, go pick up some trash. You'd be surprised, bro, with everybody being home. If people could just pick up one thing of trash and look up at the sky every once in a while.
Read a book.
Yeah, read a book. Read, actually do something. Just don't sit down and be, bummish. I don't want to say bummish, but like, take some time off and,
spend time with family.
Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people don't spend time with their family. Then when they get around them, here come the 911 calls because everybody's like, I don't even like you. So, hey, man, get to know people, man. So, yeah, bro.
We've talked about jazz. We've drank a lot of juice.
A lot.
Do y'all know what it is yet? We ain't gonna tell you. Now it's time for the jam session. We'll see y'all in a minute. Thank you all so much for tuning into the first episode. I had a lot of fun.
I enjoyed myself.
Okay, so last thing you're going to see is this is a segment we like to call Musician Mashup.
Yeah.
So where we take a musician and fuse him with a well-known musician, maybe not, more of a legend, possibly mostly deceased. We still figuring this out, y'all. So today we got, you'll see the picture. We got Bernard, probably, looking like one of the most prolific classical composers on this one. If you all want to have fun in this game, send us an email. Also, I do want to say, for booking, because the whole album, a lot of the shows that we've played together, they're all on this YouTube channel. So if you like what you hear and you would like to book us, we're ready to do any festivals when things come back together. Also some jazz venues. So please contact us. The email is written in the description. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Keep the faith. See you all.
This camera's still rolling, bro. You got the camera ready.
Brother.
This way.